The night was unusually quiet in the small town of Whispering Pines, a forgotten corner of America tucked deep between endless stretches of pine forest. The town itself was modest: 2 diners, 1 gas station, and streets that seemed to curl in on themselves like a spider's web. But the people of Whispering Pines never stayed out late. Once the sun dipped behind the tree line, shutters closed, doors locked, and not a single porch light flickered. Everyone knew why. The woods weren't safe at night, not since the old radio station went dark. The WNVR 103.6 FM building sat on the outskirts, its tall radio tower cutting through the night like a crooked skeletal finger. It had been abandoned for more than 30 years, yet townsfolk swore was never truly silent. Sometimes in the dead of night, if you tuned your dial to 103.6, you would hear her. Eleanor Voss, the station's last DJ, the woman who vanished on Halloween night in 1987 after promising her listeners a special show about the town as haunted past. That broadcast was legendary. People who listened claimed her tone shifted halfway through. At first, it was playful, her deep, smoky voice sharing campfire stories about settlers who vanished, the unmarked graves said to be buried in the forest, the strange lights locals spotted between the pines. But then the atmosphere shifted. Eleanor's words became panicked, broken with static. Her last recorded words before the signal cut out were, "They're inside the building." She was never seen again. Decades later, a young podcaster named Ryan Keller arrived in Whispering Pines. Ryan was obsessed with unsolved mysteries, and his channel specialized in investigating America's darkest legends. He was ambitious, determined, and admittedly reckless. When he heard the story of Eleanor Voss, he knew this was his chance to capture something extraordinary. He wanted proof, the kind of evidence that would make his channel explode overnight. So, on a cold October night, he parked his car outside the radio station. The building sagged under the weight of time, windows boarded, roof half collapsed, vines curling up its brick walls. The radio tower creaked against the wind. Ryan's camera light illuminated the rusted WNVR sign, the letters almost swallowed by moss. He grinned into the lens of his phone. "This," he whispered to his viewers, "is where Eleanor Voss disappeared. And tonight, I'm going to finish her broadcast." Ryan carried a portable recorder, a flashlight, and an old transistor radio tuned to 103.6. At first, the radio emitted nothing but static. But as he pushed open the warped wooden door and stepped inside, the static shifted. A faint crackle, a hiss, and then a whisper. "They are watching." Ryan froze. His heart pounded against his ribs. He brought the radio closer to his ear. The voice was weak, distorted by decades of static, but it was unmistakably female. He swallowed hard. "Hello? Eleanor?" His voice echoed through the empty halls of the station. The interior was worse than he imagined. Dust choked the air, and the wallpaper peeled in strips, revealing rotted wood beneath. The studio booth stood at the far end, its glass shattered, the on-air light dangling by a thread of wire. Ryan walked down the corridor, his flashlight flickering against faded posters of 1980s musicians. Each step groaned beneath him. The closer he got to the studio, the louder the radio grew. Static crackled violently and cut into fragments of sound. Sometimes it was Eleanor's voice. Sometimes it was something else. Low, inhuman murmurs, like dozens of people whispering in unison from behind the walls. Ryan's hand shook as he pushed open the studio door. Inside, the equipment was still there: dusty turntables, a microphone bent out of shape, stacks of vinyl records warped by damp. And in the center of the console sat a reel-to-reel tape recorder. Its spools were still, yet Ryan swore he could hear faint voices bleeding from it. He pressed record on his portable device and leaned into the cracked microphone. "This is Ryan Keller. I'm inside WNVR. If anyone can hear me, I'm picking up a signal. Eleanor, if you're out there, talk to me. The room went cold. The radio screeched with feedback. Then, through the static, Eleanor's voice emerged, soft and trembling. Don't finish it. They made me. They're listening. Ryan's blood ran cold. Who's listening? He demanded. The reply came not from the radio, but from the room itself. From every wall, every shadow. Dozens of whispers, rising and falling, speaking his name. Ryan, Ryan, Ryan. He stumbled back, flashlight shaking across the ruined booth. For a split second, he saw movement in the glass. Not a reflection. Figures. Pale outlines standing just beyond the shattered window, watching him with hollow eyes. The reel-to-reel tape recorder began spinning on its own. The microphone clicked on, and Eleanor's voice returned, only now it was louder, warped, filled with despair. You've taken my place. Welcome to the broadcast. Ryan screamed, lunging for the door, but it slammed shut. His flashlight burst, plunging the room into darkness, save for the faint red glow of the on-air light. The whispers became laughter-low, guttural, endless. The last thing his recorder captured was Ryan's terrified breathing, followed by static, then a new voice speaking clearly through the dead frequency. This has been WNVR, Whispering Pines Radio. Stay tuned forever. The next morning, Ryan's car was found parked outside the station, engine still warm. Inside was his radio, still tuned to 103.6. It played nothing but static. But some claim on nights, when the wind howls through the forest, you can hear his voice, pleading for someone to turn it off.